How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Set 6, and today we've got the breakdown of what was possibly one of the best trailers that I've seen in a very long time. That trailer was insane. Like, there was so much stuff in there to break down, so we're not going to mess about, we're going to break it down. Probably going to ignore the combat stuff and the mechanics stuff as much as possible and just kind of focus on what we see and speculating on story stuff, and then in future videos we'll look at combat and mechanics and stuff like that. But for this one we're just going to focus on the narrative aspects, the story aspects, and what we actually see and what that could suggest going forwards. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight into it because there is a lot to go through here. Don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe for future content, because this is where it's all going to be going on. So make sure you like and subscribe, but let's get on with it. So the trailer opens, panning over a ruined Midgar after the events of Remake, you know, the tornado that decimated Sectors 0, 1 and 2. And while we're panning over that, we hear Elmira saying the world's ending, at least that's what everyone's saying, and we also see Elmira in a shot behind Zack and Cloud, so I would assume that that's a conversation that goes on between Zack and Elmira. We carry on with the shot of Cloud and Zack, and you can see this massive rift in the sky, while at the same time we hear Aerith say, "The sky, I don't like it." Now that rift's quite interesting. The rift suggests a few things potentially, and I think it ties into the actual tornado itself and the singularity that we see. Definitely something to think about going forwards. I mean, it could be a few things, this rift in the sky. It could be something that symbolises Meteor, it could be something that symbolises the singularity, it could be something that symbolises damage that was done in general to maybe reality. It could suggest a few things, so it's definitely something that's worth thinking about going forwards and, you know, remaining aware of that big, giant rift in the sky. It's definitely something. We then get to look at Junon. Junon's looking amazing. We get to see the parade and we get to see Rufus ushering in his New World Order, firing the cannon. Now, he's not firing it at anything. I think this is just kind of like a celebratory kind of thing, you know, like when soldiers will shoot guns off at parades and stuff like that. It's one of those kind of things. So yeah, he's not firing this at weapon or anything like that. It's a parade thing. And then we move on and we see a few shots of Cloud. Now this is a very weird shot. I mean, the first thing you'll notice that there's a soldier at the front of the parade wearing the Buster Sword. Now that's obviously Cloud in his disguise, as we do in the parade in the OG, except instead of merging with the parade and just marching along with it, he seems to be leading a small section of it. That's a bit weird. That's the first weird thing, how he's ended up in that situation. But then if you look a little bit closer, there's two more weird things going on here. The first one's funny weird, and it's a cardboard cutout of Rufus. And you only briefly see it here, but I'm pretty sure we do see it again at another shot in the trailer. So yeah, there's little cardboard cutouts of Rufus dotted about. That's what it looks like. That's pretty weird. But then we also see Stamp, and it's Beagle Stamp. So that's something interesting for all you Stamp enthusiasts out there. I don't even know what to think about Stamp and the Beagle and Terrier Stamps at the minute and the differences. Now after that we hop through a few locations. So the first location that we see, I believe, is the ruined reactor in Gongaga. I think that's what we're looking at there. Then after that we've got the Junon Undercity, I believe. It gives me vibes of Midgar, and Junon's Undercity is a mini Midgar. So yeah, this 100% feels like it's the Undercity of Junon to me. And then after that we get Cosmo Canyon. We get our first glimpse of Cosmo Canyon, and it looks pretty cool. I'm into it. I'm very into it. Everything looks amazing so far. Like, literally everything looks phenomenal. Junon looks insane. But yeah, while this is going on, the party are discussing what's going to happen to the planet and the live stream. So the usual, like, if you drain the planet's energy, the planet will die, that kind of thing. So we're kind of reaffirming all of that. But then we get to an area with a boat, which I'm a little bit unsure of. I think that might be near Junon, potentially. But we do seem to visit a few weird places, so who knows. Also, while this is going on, there's a lot of combo stuff that we're getting to see. So again, we'll dive into this in another video, but it does look really good. Then we get to the flashback. We see Sephiroth cutting open the pod rather than the pod malfunctioning and opening itself, which is cool. We hear Sephiroth saying, "Am I the same as these monsters? Am I even human?" So, you know, keeping in with that stuff, the flashback seems to progress as you would expect. And then we get to the worst bit of the trailer, which is where we meet Kate Sith, but we're obviously in the Gold Saucer, so that's also a positive. So, you know, it's not all negative. Yes, Kate Sith appears and boo, but Gold Saucer. So, good times. Good times. Ish. But we carry on with Cait Sith for a minute. We see a little bit of combat, that sort of thing. We see the buggy driving around, which is just beautiful to see. We are going to have access to at least the buggy. But not only do we get confirmation of the buggy, we also get confirmation of the various different coloured chocobos that we get. So we've got the mountain chocobo, we've got all of that sort of stuff. We've got a flying chocobo, we've got all of the good stuff. But the flying chocobo kind of gives me a little bit of hope. Seeing the buggy and seeing the flying chocobo gives me a teeny tiny bit of hope that we might actually get to fly around in the high wind. I doubt it. I still doubt it, but it gives me hope. So, yeah, that's the thing. But the chocobos look amazing. There's a couple of weird areas going on here. We can see when we've got the chocobo climbing up the mountain face, the cliff face, you can see some wrecked ships in the background. I get the feeling that this and the shot of the blue chocobo flying as well, I get the feeling that they are kind of like the southern area of Cosmo Canyon, you know, just to the south. I get the feeling that this is that area due to the coloration of the rocks and things like that. But on top of that, we also see a lot of what seems to be ruined buildings and staircases and things like that. I get the feeling that this is possibly a reworking of the ancient forest, rather than it just kind of being a forest perched on top of a plateau. Maybe they've incorporated like a wider system of ruins into the area that we'll get to explore and check out and things like that. So that's quite hopeful. Maybe it's both. Maybe the ancient forest is still going to be a thing, it's still going to be its own separate entity, but then they've added in all these additional ruins for us to explore. So yeah, it looks like there's a lot of activity going on around Cosmo Canyon, which I'm into, because it is a bit of an empty area other than Cosmo Canyon and the ancient forest. So it's pretty cool that they're going to flesh it out seemingly and fill it up with more stuff. I'm into that. But while we're seeing all of this, all we can hear in the background is, as you can see, your brothers down there are having a little get-together. And this is referring to gathering the black cloaks that we see. I'm not sure where this location is that we're looking at here. All you kind of really see is a stone archway with a couple of black cloaks walking towards it. So yeah, I'm a little bit uncertain as to where this location is. If you've got any ideas, let me know in the comments below, because I am drawing a blank. But yeah, it seems like something related to Hojo, because I'm pretty confident it's Hojo that we hear speaking and saying, you know, you and your brothers are down there having a little get-together. I'm pretty sure that's Hojo. So yeah. We also get a weird shot of Cloud on a Segway as well in this period of time. And yeah, it seems like we're getting outfit changes in Costa del Sol. It feels like Costa del Sol is going to be kind of like a fun, breezy kind of location. And then maybe we go into the Gold Saucer, and that's also fun and breezy. And then the hammer will fall after that, and things will start getting much more serious. That's what it's kind of looking like a little bit. But then we get one of my most interesting shots of the trailer. And that's this shot of the Doctor with the black cloaks in the background. And like, this is Mideel, right? Like, I said it immediately last night on stream. This is Mideel. It feels like Mideel, it looks like Mideel. The Doctor looks like the Doctor would be from Mideel. You've got the same colour, like, curtains, everything like that. It just gives off the vibe of Mideel. Which is interesting because we don't go to Mideel until after certain events have transpired. And we see Aerith stood in the doorway in this place. So that suggests to me one of two things. Either the game goes past that point, or we go to Mideel early. Now, we did get, there's an interview, there's many interviews, there's a lot of stuff to go over, and I'm going to cover that tomorrow. But in one of the interviews, it says that the game goes up to the City of the Ancients, which means we don't go past that bit. Which means we go to Mideel early, if that is Mideel. I'm pretty confident it is. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. Do you feel like that's Mideel? I think it is. It has to be. I can't see it being anything else. Unless it's something completely new. If it's a completely new location, fair enough. But yeah, I'm feeling Mideel. So why would we go to Mideel early? We've also had it confirmed in these same interviews. Again, I'll dive into them fully tomorrow, but just briefly going to touch on it. Wutai is not going to be in this game. Which is a little bit weird, because I expected Wutai to be very prevalent in this game. Maybe Wutai as an entity is, but we don't actually go to Wutai. We'll talk about this more in tomorrow's video, but yeah, Mideel. I've got a strong feeling that this is Mideel. Let me know what you think. Now, the Doctor is talking about the Black Cloaks suffering from degradation due to being soldier. So basically saying, yo, these guys were experimented on and now they're going through the degradation that soldiers go through. Then we get a scene of Sephiroth, who's seeming to be directly rebuking this, and he's talking about Cloud knowing the truth and to believe in him. So this obviously leans into Sephiroth trying to manipulate Cloud and try to convince Cloud of something. We'll get more details on it, I'm sure. But yeah, this feels like Mideel to me in a massive way. A massive way. And like I say, it's not after the North Crater. So what's going on? Why are we in Mideel? Lots of questions, and we'll be doing specific videos diving into each of these subjects. I'm going to leave this one for now, but yeah, let me know what you think. Is it Mideel? Now after this we get to see a few more shots. We get to see what I'm pretty certain is the Midgar Zolom. We get to see Bottom Swell. We get some combo attacks showcased and things like that. Then we also see a little bit more of the flashback, where we see Flashback Cloud and Flashback Sephiroth fighting against the Materia Keeper. For a moment, I was kind of like, this isn't the flashback. Because it's weird they don't fight the Materia Keeper, and Cloud seems stronger than he should be in comparison to Sephiroth, but it's Cloud as Zack, and Zack potentially was that strong at that point. So yeah, that's a bit of a moot point there. I don't know, I've just got a lot of suspicion going on around the flashback. That's where all my suspicion is at the minute. But yeah, the weirdest shot in this trailer is the hair commercial that goes on somewhere in the middle with Cloud and Sephiroth. Not a fan of that. Needs to fix that, because it looks super fucking weird. Like, seriously, what is this? It's funny though, it's a good laugh. It's the only bit of the trailer that I kind of looked at like, what? Very weird. Then we get some summons. We get to see Alexander, who's looking insane. Alexander is looking insane. Kajata, which is weird because we're clearly getting Kajata in a different location. This is a summon that you don't get until you go to the City of the Ancients, and clearly we're not at the City of the Ancients at this point where we've summoned it. So that suggests to me that we get it early. Then we see Odin as well. Like, very cool stuff. All the summons looking absolutely brilliant. But then we get one of the best shots of the trailer, and it's the cable car up to the Gold Saucer. They revealed it. They finally revealed it. We have seen the Gold Saucer, and it looks brilliant. And it gets even better as well, because first off, we see Andrea at the Gold Saucer, which is a bit of an interesting one, because he was in Midgar last we saw of him. I can't remember if he says that he's heading to the Gold Saucer for any reason. I don't think he does in Remake. I'm pretty sure we don't have that conversation. My only suggestion would be that after the damage has been done to Midgar, anyone who can get out probably does get out for a bit, you know, while everything gets fixed. So that might be what's going on here. It could just be a normal thing. Andrea might just pop to the Gold Saucer every now and again and do a show. That would make sense. We see Tifa, Yuffie and Aerith watching the show. You only barely see Aerith for like a frame. Half of her is in the shot, but she is there. I would guess the rest of the party are there as well, just kind of out of the camera's view. But yeah, it looks like an absolute party at the Gold Saucer. We see Dio being massively overdressed. Why is Dio wearing that much clothing? Not happy, Square Enix. Fix it. But then we see, again, some of the best stuff that we see in the trailer. It's crazy. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't ready for it. I didn't think we were going to get all of this stuff. My head had already melted when we saw the flying Chocobos and the mountain Chocobos and things like that. But then we see Chocobo racing, and it looks so good. I'm so up for it. I'm ready. I am ready. Where's Joe? Where is he? Bring him to me. Bring him to me. Then we get the boxing game. Hopefully it works properly this time, because it's broken quite heavily in the original game. You can get to the final fight, but the guy's invisible, so you can't win it, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I'm hoping this works. Although it would be funny if the final enemy appears and is invisible. That'd be a pretty funny nod. I'd be up for that, actually. Yeah, that'd be cool. We get the motorcycle game. All very cool shit. I hope Mog's house is there. I'll be a little bit upset if we cut Mog's house, but moving on. Now, my face in the reaction immediately just kind of went, what? When this scene happened, because we've just seen Chocobo racing, we've just seen the boxing, the motorcycle game, Gold Saucer, everything's hype, and then you see Zack passing Cloud to Kyrie and asking her to look after him for a bit. And this left me with a lot of questions, man. This left me with so many questions. Like, does Kyrie remember Cloud? Or has that memory been overwritten by the singularity and Zack surviving and everything like that? Does she remember the party? Does she remember Cloud? I am very confused by this. And it feeds into the stuff with Elmira at the start as well, because, you know, we've clearly got Elmira talking to Zack and Cloud and stood next to them. Well, not talking to Cloud, because Cloud's a bit... but talking to Zack. So, yeah, this is pretty interesting. Do people remember, or have people's memories been altered? there's a big focus on memories in the remake project. It is like manipulating the memories of the live stream and the memories of the planet and things like that. So it wouldn't shock me if everyone's memories have been altered. Maybe. Because it's just super weird. It's a very weird scene. And we've got a bit more weird because we go back to the Junon parade, and at the Junon parade we see a cloaked figure stood off to the side. And it's not your usual cloaked figure. You know, the ones that kind of just shuffle along like, reunion and all that sort of business. It's not one of them. This is someone who's just hiding their identity. We see the bottom half of their face, and we see what looks to be a red beard. And that's pretty much all we get out of it. The important thing is, who is this? And yeah, there's a few possibilities. There's a lot of possibilities, let's be honest with you. I mean, I've seen a lot of people suggesting Glenn from Ever Crisis. I think we need to see how that story pans out before we can kind of nail that one down. I don't know. It looks like it could be. It also looks like it could be Genesis, potentially. And I will flesh this out a little bit later on why I think it could be Genesis, but we've not seen the shot yet, so be ready. I've seen a lot of people say that it could be Roche degraded, and that's why he's got the black cloak on, so he is technically a reunion figure, but he's still a little bit more together than you would expect, probably due to being a soldier of a high rank. I've seen people suggesting that it could be characters from Before Crisis. You have like members of the Turks who kind of disappear at the end of Before Crisis, and you don't really know where they've gone or what they've done and what's happened to them. Could be one of them. It's definitely someone who's got an interest in Rufus. It seems to be an interest in Rufus that this person's got. So yeah, I'm unsure who that could be, but Glenn's a good shout, Genesis is a good shout, Degraded Roche is a good shout. There's a few options. There's a fair few options as for who it could be. It could be someone completely new. It could just be someone entirely new. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone we've met. Could be anyone. But yeah, this is something that we all need to talk about in the comments. So get your thoughts in there. Let me know what you're thinking. Who is this hooded figure? Then we have a big moment for me in my recent predictions video, and in the predictions video that I did 3 years ago as well. I said that we were going to see weapons early, and what do we see? We see what I believe is Sapphire weapon. It looks like it's got the long tail fin that Sapphire has. So I get the feeling it's Sapphire that we're looking at here. But let me know what you're thinking. Emerald, Sapphire, something new? I think it's Sapphire. Gut feeling is it's Sapphire. We've gone down to the underwater reactor when we're in Junon for some reason, and we just see it, just coasting about. That's my gut feeling. Let me know what you're thinking. Then we get one of the biggest reveals that we've been waiting for a very long time, and we've still not seen his face. This is the thing, like, it's Vincent, obviously, so we meet Vincent and we hear, "Who dares disturb my slumber?" and all that business, but we don't see his face. And everyone's still losing their absolute shit over seeing Vincent, so yeah, I can't wait until we actually see his face. Vincent could feed into the same thing that I was talking about with Genesis earlier, so give me a minute, we're getting there. We're very close. We're very close. In fact, it's the next scene. But yeah, Vincent is back. And everybody loves it. And I love it too. He's good. He is good. He is good. No Sid yet, though. No Sid. No tea drinking legend. So, getting a bit upset about that. Show Sid immediately. Now, this next shot is also a very interesting shot to me. So what we see is we see the tornado that's damaging Midgar. But then what we see is we see a red pulse go from the sky, from the very origin point of the tornado, straight down to the ground. What's going on there? And I have a few ideas. It could be nothing. It could just be a visual thing like, "Oh, look, pretty tornado, red pulse, ooh, damage." It could be that. But I don't think it is. I think it's one of two things. I think it's either A, tied into chaos, and some memory of chaos will be transferred back to Vincent, and which is why we hear what I believe is Vincent talking. I'm not 100% on this one. Please correct me if you know whose voice this is. But they say, "It's upon us, the reunion, when worlds merge." I think that could be Vincent saying that. And the red pulse, coupled with my belief it's Vincent saying that potentially, makes me think that some essence or aspect of chaos has been able to transmit some sort of message back, in the same way that the memories are kind of being erased and merged into this timeline, in the same way that Sephiroth seems to have manipulated time, in the same way that it's been happening all along through Remake. Chaos seems to have potentially done something. Now, there is another option to this, and that is that this is some essence of Genesis that has found a way to come back as well, which is why, when we were talking about the cloaked figure, I kind of said I'll come back to Genesis, because if it is a Genesis who's kind of sent his essence back, or himself back even potentially, from the future timeline where we believe Sephiroth has done this from, the post-Dirge of Cerberus timeline, it would be an older Genesis, and therefore we could see that older face with the beard. I don't know. I am completely lost on who that hooded figure is. It could be Genesis, if this is something to do with Genesis. It could be Glenn, depending on how Glenn's story in The First Soldier pans out. He challenges Sephiroth, so I don't think it's going to go too well, but we'll see. And then there are other options as well. Degraded Roche, Old Turks member. We've gone over them. I don't know. But this is sus. This tornado is sus. They've shown us this tornado and the pulse and visions of like the Buster Sword and stuff like that in the previous trailer, and the Black Feather. They keep showing us this moment, and this moment seems to be integral to the story going forwards. It seems to be that there's a lot of stuff crossing over and merging and replacing and weaving itself together. So yeah, this tornado, super fucking sus. Super sus. And then we get what seems to be a few shots from the end of Remake, as far as I can tell. So, you know, Meteor Fall and the fight, that's very Advent Children-y at the end of the game against Sephiroth. But then we see the shot of Cloud jumping at Sephiroth, you know, before the big white flash, and we end up going to the edge of creation. And it feels a bit weird, it looks a bit weird. I'm going to guess it's just purely because it is the same shot, but it's been rendered from a different angle, so we get a different view of it. So, yeah, that's all I think it is. It looks different, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is. And then we finish with Sephiroth saying, "I'm waiting, Cloud." So, yeah, lots of stuff in that trailer to talk about, to think about, and I don't think we're going to have a massive amount of time until we get even more, because Tokyo Game Show next week, I mean, I'm going to dive into the interview tomorrow, and we'll get more context from that. I've not read over everything properly yet. I wanted to keep this as purely trailer-based as possible. So I know of the interview, I've seen one or two clips from the interviews, but I'll dive into them properly tomorrow. But yeah, crazy trailer. Crazy trailer. Biggest points for me, I mean, seeing all of the locations, seeing Junon, seeing the Gold Saucer. Seeing the Gold Saucer is probably the biggest one, as far as like, oh my god, that looks amazing. But Junon looks phenomenal as well. Massive fan of how Junon looks. In general, one of the better trailers that I've seen in a very long time. But there is a few interesting points that ask quite a few questions. Is that Mideel? Is that Mideel where we see the Doctor and we're talking to the Black Cloaks and then Sephiroth appears and blah 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 blah? Is that Mideel? I think it is. After that, we've got who is the hooded figure at the parade? Who is that? And there are a lot of possibilities for that, as we've gone over. I'm not going to go over them again, we've already gone over it, but yeah, lots of possibilities for that. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. Why do we see Beagle Stamp just kind of lurking in the background? I've not checked to see if there's any more stamps throughout the trailer. I've not noticed any. This one just kind of caught my eye and I was like, wait a minute, is that? And then I saw someone post about it on Twitter as well. It's like, oh yeah, that's definitely him. So yeah, let me know if you spot any others and what you think about that. Yeah, there's just a lot to talk about. Just very happy that I got my weapon prediction right. That's one in the bank. Let's go. Like I say, interview video tomorrow where we kind of dive into some of the interviews that have been done by the development team and like the box art and stuff like that. There's some interesting notes on there. So we'll dive into all of that in a video tomorrow. But then I'm going to be away for 5 days. So it's going to be a bit tough for me over the course of the week until after Tokyo Game Show pretty much. So like next Saturday is probably going to be the next chance that I get to make much content. But I'm going to do my best to upload stuff while we're over there, you know, just fun stuff, shorts, things like that. And I'm also going to try and put a video together I can schedule for in a couple of days. We'll see what I can manage. But yeah, let me know what you're thinking about this trailer. What kind of stuff did you notice? What did I miss? Because I'll definitely have missed something. There's so much in there. I will 100% have missed something. Let me know all that stuff in the comments below. Leave a like on the video, subscribe for future content, but more importantly than anything, have a great day. And show Sid, you cowards.